Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a spectacular day. Sergeant Alex here, bringing you another little Minecraft video. This one's a little different. That's sort of a tutorial, not really. I turned it more into a time-lapse after I finished building this monstrosity of a modern skyscraper, which I'll get to more on that in a minute. But instead of me going and talking about each little section that I'm doing, well, I'm probably going to jump to that in a little bit anyways, but for the most part, I want to just explain what was going through my head, the thought process, some tips and essentially tricks to help design something like this. Because on the whole channel and stuff, I love doing tutorials and whatnot, but I don't want to do block by block tutorials because then you're not getting your creative juices flowing, making your own unique builds. Hey, I copied this build from this guy's YouTube channel. It doesn't have the same ring as, oh, I just used this guy to help me jumpstart this build, but everything's my idea and design. When you're, bragging to your friends around the water cooler and stuff. So grab yourself a frosty beverage and sit back and relax, because this is going to be a long one. I spent after recording stuff, it was about an hour build, and then cutting it down to a video, and then speeding it up to what we have now. So I cut a lot of stuff out, especially in the first half, because my computer decided I don't want to connect to the internet anymore. So there goes my Minecraft connection. There goes my connection to my realm, which is what I'm building on. So if I'm building on the realm in the future, I'm probably just going to go straight to the console. So as you can see, as we started off already, I've been looking at some pictures and stuff. I watched some videos. And thank you, computer. I've been watching some videos and tricks and stuff, which I'll get to that in a bit, but I just want to talk about what I'm doing so far. What I decided to do is to just start with the front of the facade, which you're going to see first. So I got those two pillars there with a door in between, a nice big window. And in one of the videos, there was a garage door next to a wall, so I was like, I could make that into a window. So if you want that window right there, you could turn into a garage if you're giving something like this a shot. But from what I've seen from modern house build, I didn't look up Minecraft ones. I looked up straight up modern houses, and I got some 3D architect designs, some actual ones built, and I just jumped around them, and little elements I saw here and there and that I liked, they went there. So we got pretty much the front door done. Now I'm coming out to the side because I gotta get 3 more walls built. And at this point, I really don't have a game plan. I'm just kind of building by my little intuition and whatnot. I've done a lot of not similar design builds. I tend to stick towards the medieval or Renaissance style of houses. So those I can whip out like no tomorrow. But modern, I haven't had the greatest luck with. So this is literally my second crack at it. My first one was a smaller, more unique modern house, but I wasn't happy with the end result, so it didn't go up into a video. The main problem with that one was just flooring and getting up and down. I couldn't make staircases look nice. I couldn't make a ladder look appropriate. So I decided to do this challenge again, which the challenge I gave myself was that I had to fit in a chunk, which is why you see the red border there. That's pretty much the do not cross line. Which I do have to say, this one came out a lot bigger and a lot better than the first shot. Because I pretty much, in the first skyscraper, I tried to give it a little bit of a yard. In this one, I was like, I'm going to need as much room as possible. So if someone wants a yard, they can just build one in the next chunk. I decided to go purely into the house size and little aesthetics of it, which I am working on the inside of the house. I already started recording that, and I'm actually sitting here thinking, actually, I think I want to move the elevator, because this section right here, which if memory serves, I could make a nice little elevator on the inside, and the glass would be a nice touch. I'm not sure how the panes of the blocks would work out, but it's worth a shot. And everything is just going off on me today. Let's do that. So we pretty much have the front door done. We have this little garage bay door window thing going on. And as I'm going along, I keep raising everything up. It's around this point where I'm figuring out I can't just do this as one big massive build. I'm going to need to break it up into smaller chunks. So I decided each wall is going to be a chunk, and there's going to be three sections. So we're dealing with the first section. We did the first and second wall. I'm coming over here to kind of build into the third one, and then the back wall. And the hardest part about this entire build was just getting the base floor done. Once you get the first little section here done, then everything else tends to start piecing itself together. And again, look up to some little tutorial videos, and they talk about how they do modern houses and their recommendations, and I follow them a little bit, but not to the letter. Like a few of them I watched was like, oh, just take 3 block colors, make 3 rectangles of different shapes and sizes, and have them intersecting and put a window in. Boom, there's your modern house. Quick and easy, 5 minutes. And yeah, you could do that, and once you decorate it, it does look nice, but it just looks like 3 boxes glued together. I did that my first week in Minecraft, so I wanted to give a little bit more shape, style to this whole thing. Which now now that I'm thinking about it, and that's literally because I have the stripped dark oak logs in my face, I'm gonna start talking about the color palettes and stuff. A lot of the ones I've seen and stuff went with a light color, a dark color, and then something in the middle. So I went with white concrete, the most popular one it seems for modern houses, and I did the dark gray because the black I didn't like how it looked in the final build. And seriously, computer, quit telling me stuff. And then we have the dark oak strip logs here because I want to use one of the newer blocks. I could have used I was going to use the planks, but I was like, we got the logs. Let's give those a shot. And that looked nice. It seems a little bit bigger, has a little bit more detail from farther away than the planks do. Another block that I was playing with that I would probably want to change it out now is just to get a little bit of color in here. Maybe something like the dark prismarine or something else with a little bit of it. I mean, we now have we have a bunch of new blocks that got added with the last 2 updates. So maybe netherrack, dark prismarine. I believe the purple blocks from the end were recently given slabs and bricks and stuff, so maybe you can swap that out for it. As long as the colors match, it's your build, so just pick whatever colors you like. I just recommend trying to make a match. And for everybody, different colors match differently. I remember back in the day, I did not like putting blue and orange together in any shape or size, but after a while and learning more and more about colors and stuff, because I took an art class in high school, so I'm a genius. Not really. I started to appreciate the colors and contrast more now, just working more and more with different colors. Then I kind of got pushed into using the 2 together, and the end result came out nice. I will say that. So as you can see, I'm following the put a block in a modern house. This actually does become a full block when I finish up the house. I'm thinking, I haven't decorated the room completely, but I'm thinking a library. It just has that nice, warm, toasty feel that I got when I went to literally it was a bookstore that I went to as a kid, and part of it, well, I can't say part of it, the entire thing used to be someone's house, and then the entire thing got gutted, cleaned out, and turned into a store. But the garage had all the kids' book, got turned around, has all the kids' books, the Goosebumps and all that stuff. There's a little shed that's full of gardening books. And then you have the main house, which is 4 stories. It's a really, really old, beautiful house, and they do take a good job of maintaining it. But the basement has the history books, the main floor has the cookbooks, the story books. 3rd and 4th floor is all the fiction. It was a really fun store, and I spent hours in there as a kid just looking for books. So yeah, I like libraries having the warm, toasty feel, where you can just sit down, curl up with a beverage, and read a book. And no, I'm not sponsored by the library. I wish I was, though. So we have this whole facade, which is actually one of my favorite pieces. I decided, let's try and just make a nice little pokey out glass thing. And this was the final result. I just like the fact that it comes out and it's like a indoor balcony. For some reason it made me think of a greenhouse, which I do actually pull that into the back of the house. But for now, we have the first chunk of the back done, then the left and right side. And one of the things that I definitely recommend is just every once in a while, before you get too much done, just step back from it, take a look at it from far away, and you'll notice if anything's looking funny. I did it regularly in this video just to make sure everything was looking right, trying to come up with ideas. There's a few sections where I cut out a couple like 5-minute chunks just because I was staring at one front of it, looking at pictures, and like, this idea might work and it would look great. And you're starting to see the computer here starting to glitch up when I was recording this. So in a little bit, I'm going to get kicked off the realm, which happened 3 or 4 times before I gave up, cut most of that out, and then went to the Xbox the next day. But here we are with the little greenhouse facade I was talking about. I wanted a little greenhouse theme to it, so I was thinking of sun sticking out of the back. I mean, if I had more time, which I wanted to keep this build relatively short, I definitely would have tried to make the entire roof part of it out of glass, so you could definitely turn that into a greenhouse in the inside. But I want to get this video recorded, keep it short, so it's a little bit more digestible, which I'm pushing that. I'm definitely pushing that with the timeline. But for the end result, it's definitely worth the wait. So a nice little greenhouse theme thing. It just poked out, nice little gray box. And one of the things I definitely recommend, which not a lot of people do, they concentrate on the outside, then I'll try and finagle the inside. Every once in a while, just take a walk in the house, pretend like it's your base, figure out where your floors are. This is where I'm looking up like that. That would be a nice little floor section right there. We have the dark wood. I could put some bookshelves in there, some decoration. And then you just poke back out to the build, which I wanted to keep that gray column kind of separated from everything else, so that's why I moved that little chunk of the wall back. And that gray column pretty much goes towards the roof. I do adjust it towards the final end. I just keep some of the things I wanted to just go up and be a nice huge accent, so I just kept it going up. And there's another little jump of a glitch. I think we're coming up to the first kicking me out section. So for right now, I'm trying to figure out how to start the bottom of it while making it bottom of the second section while making the top of the first section look good. A little bit of lag there, and that's where I decided to come up off of this thing. It literally, that little detail right there becomes part of the entire build. It's, in my opinion, one of the most important things. And you saw it there. I just put a line up a wall out of random chance. So I use that to kind of just help frame the second section. I have a little bit of built out one more block, so I have a little bit more foundation to build off of. And that would be the second time I think the server kicked me off. So I logged back on. I started over here. I was going to do a pillar down towards that side and kind of cube it off, but I decided not to. I actually came up with another section, which I can't remember what TV show I watched as a kid, but for some reason I'm thinking the Justice League is where I got this whole idea off of. And I just wanted something tall, glass, little archiness to it, which is what I'm punching in now. And this is actually going to, another thing that I use. The idea started on the second floor, but it came down to the first area to just help fill in that little section of wall. One of the things I wanted to try and avoid is just having a huge blank wall, which I do have on one side, but that's got the balcony and stuff. I do have some plans for that later on. But that kind of helps decorate the back wall. The other walls are kind of left out, but I'll figure something out. And for this, I'm just dragging it straight up. I have no idea where it's going to end. All I know is I need its walls in place. And I do the same with this tower, because that little tower there, I want that to go all the way up. It's kind of like a little corner piece and just some unique random element. And that's pretty much all that for those two parts. I mean, I know how I want to end them off. I just don't know where, so I kind of just built them up. And here I decided we don't have enough big windows. So decided to add one more. So I'm building off, I want a nice little frame around the window. So I'm working on adding that. I do believe I go in one more block there, because I actually don't remember exactly what I did. All I know is I made a big window. Apparently I didn't go in one more block. Thought I did. So the glass is put in. One of the things that you noticed at the beginning of the video is I had that black stained glass wall. I put a gray paint in there. Figured that would be nice to add a little bit of detail and stuff. But for the whole final detail, I'll leave it up to whoever decides to try and do something like this. This is just more of a general guide and stuff that went through my head when building it. And here I'm planning on this little wall, but I also want to add detail to the back wall here, which is where I'm pulling in more of that gray block. And that random gray line that started at the beginning that I had no thoughts or plans for, it's moving on up in the wall even more. So I kind of want to make sure this looked like it was connected throughout the entire thing. So I'm going to add a little 2-block section here, and I added this like 3 or 4 times to make it look just right. So I build this facade up a little bit more. And again, I have no idea where that's going to end or how I'm going to completely end it off. I just know I want a nice little arch thing with some glass. And I can decorate the inside of it a little bit, which I did with some of the dark gray concrete. Just did like cross beams to make it look like it's semi-supported, and build the windows off of. And then we have this section here, which I decided, I haven't decided it yet, but here's one of the things I mentioned earlier. Just fly around, look at your build. You can figure things out, get the whole thing in front of your face so you can look at it. And I decided this was going to be a white wall, but I want to add a little bit of a decoration by doing a random little brown box that comes out. And for this one, I decided just to up it a little bit more and add another balcony, because balconies are nice. You can kind of walk out and overlook the entire area. It's not a big balcony. You can't really build on, well, actually you can't build on there at all. But you can overlook everything, and maybe due to the size and stuff, if you're in survival, it'd be good for taking on and off with Elytra. Or Elytra. I have no idea how to pronounce it. But once out of that section, then you can just come back and maybe touch up a few areas that need it. I'm trying to figure out where I want the whole balcony to go. And now if I thought about this and actually thought about the inside, I should have dropped the floor 1 block. I might actually go back and do that off camera. But some half slabs of the same wood type poking out, and then just some glass panes. And it pretty much makes a nice little balcony. I think I fly in there in a second just to see what it's like. So, boop, I'm walking up and you can overlook everything. Little villager farms to the left, and random farms and doodads. Little sugarcane thing off to the rightish. So that's 3 walls of the second section done. And now to do the final one here, which I do believe will also drag us into the third section here. Yeah, it's going to drag us into the third section, because I'm thinking, how do I want to close this off too? Because you gotta plan for a roof eventually, and especially with like your medieval builds and stuff, it's easy. All you have to do is pick out what type of A-frame you want to do. You want something a little flatter? Do you want something a little bit more dome shape, taller? But I decided to try and just make a nice little neat design out of it. I literally at this point have no plan what I'm doing with that. All I know is it looks kind of cool. And it also gives me kind of a finishing point so I can figure out where I want the roof to end. So you can see I'm pulling this up, I'm adding the cap. I know how I wanted to close the top of it off. It actually wasn't that difficult with a modern build. because everything is more angular. Instead of having your natural curves and softness in some builds, it's more angular. Or in some sections, I might add some logs to just kind of break up the flatness and smooth it all out and make it look like it's supported. This is just big gray blocks. And there's that gray line I was telling you about. It's made its way all the way to the roof from the bottom, which I do think is a nice detail in the entire build itself. But now I'm running into the tricky part of how do I want to close this entire roof off and make everything look nice. I decided to move a section of the wall back there. So you're still getting the detail from it, but it just has that one random block sticking out, which does bug me a little bit, but I can't get rid of it, otherwise one of the walls is going to look weird, so I had to kind of suck it up there. And again, I pulled that gray pillar up once more. I do think I knock it down a little bit before I do anything else major. And there was another little section I just stopped, paused, looked at the entire wall. And I believe for this section, all I did was pretty much match that little left wall arch thing and just drag it over the gray pillar, and then I added the detail. On this side, I pretty much I started adding one thing and I jumped to the other because I didn't like how one of the walls connected to it. So another thing I didn't mention earlier on, don't be afraid to rip down a section and redo it over and over and over again until it looks right. I mean, if you don't do that if you don't get that one part to your liking, it's gonna bug you. And eventually you're going to get to the point where it's going to be an even bigger hassle. So while you're in the build process, doing the build itself, if there's something you don't like, don't be afraid to dismantle it. I mean, there's plenty of builds I put up on the channel that you wouldn't believe how many times I took apart and reassembled before I was happy enough to put it into a video. And then there's some builds where I had to dismantle and rebuild because it was issues with recording. I'm talking about you, Archer Tower. I will never build that build again. I couldn't stand it. It was a great, beautiful design. I fell in love with it, but just the hell I went through building it, no. And as you see, here's what I'm talking about. I'm getting ready to disassemble that wall. I'm just pulling this wall over. I figured get something there to look at, and then I can figure out the rest of the details later. But I don't like how that square wall's not matching up with the diagonals there. So I just started ripping it out. Pulled this all the way over to the gray tower. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's going to need some work. It's a big blank white section. And then I have that whole window on the other side to worry about. So which do I want to tackle first is exactly what went through my mind at this point. And I figured out what I wanted to do here, which was literally a nice little detail to come out of the wall. I wanted it to be off center there, but I was like, that kind of looks weird enough. So let's just make it nice and symmetrical and even, and then pull it in. And this box really doesn't have much of a theme, much going on there. It was literally just to add a little bit of color, break up the wall there. And it comes over and becomes a key part of the roof, in my opinion. So I had that section figured out, and I had to come back and deal with the elephant on this wall, which was how do I want to do this window and how do I make it look good, in my opinion. So I decided the best thing to do was just take the dark gray concrete, frame it down, and look at it. I'm like, that's not a bad shape. I should pretty much just copy the entire roof on the other side over, which I do that. I don't think it's block for block. I didn't go over there and count. I just got the general shape, which if it's not block for block, unless someone sits there and counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, with the lack of borders that concrete has, I don't think anyone's really going to notice. But I do copy the theme over, and it does become a nice little element of the build. Just closing off little sections here, slowly building up. I decided the final height for that, I want it lower than the roof, but I still want it pretty tall. So I put that down, cap it off. Then I decided to pull this is the part where I'm pulling this over. So I build it up a couple of blocks, and then I just pull it over to a random point and end it. I didn't want this going over to the other side of the build. I just wanted to end it, finishing off somewhere in the middle of the roof as a nice little final detail. And then I decided, gray concrete to just close off the rest of the roof. I pulled that one box all the way up, closed it off, and that was that little section finished. So I got 3 walls and the roof added. I still have that one wall and a couple of windows here and there to finish off. So that set angle looks nice. That one has a big gray spot and a little chunk of white that's not finished. There we have that big window I was talking about, which I am happy with. And this is the part where I'm coming over to finish it. So again, I'm not really just, I didn't go over to the other side and count. I'm just closing it off to add a little bit of detail. So boom, kind of same theme. And I do clear all that out and I turn into another window. I was thinking of what it would look like if I put the wood in there as a little frame. I don't remember if I liked it or not, though. Apparently I liked it because I haven't gotten rid of the wood yet. So that stayed. It's a nice little window there. I'm thinking... Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe pulling that balcony up and knocking it back into that little window there would work well. It would help take the squareness away from that balcony, but I decided for some reason to add half slabs. Then I'm looking at that little line again. It looks nice, it's great, I love the detail about it, but I decided to cube it off a little bit more. And then we have this little big, I'm going to call it the superhero window. So we have the big superhero window here. And then I'm just adding the little gray cross beams to make it look nice. I really didn't count, I just kind of made everything look proper. Adding in the glass. So it looks like it has a little bit of support. Big window. And now that I'm thinking about it again, I could also have I could turn this into a little elevator bay. Because one of the things that with a build like this, where it's taller than it is wide, and you don't have a lot of room on the inside, so you're always thinking, how do I want to do the getting up and down to the other floors? And then I'm taking a little bit of influence from the superhero window here, and adding the gray sections. That big window on the side there definitely did mess me up a little bit. I decided to take out the bottom row there. So at least behind this section here, I can have that gray, so you can still see the color if you're up by it. It does match and everything, it just doesn't go all the way up. And for this, it just happens to connect with the glass nicely. Well, nice enough for it not to be an eyesore. So I just decided to build up off of that glass. And then I drag this back one block just so the glass will connect to something and it'll frame it nicely. I just start connecting random bits and bobbles up to make it look nice on the inside. Which, if I don't like how it looks when I get up there and add the floor and everything, I can just rip a couple blocks out here and there. Hopefully not mess up the outside. Finish up the inside from here. So pretty much I'm adding this window, and that's going to wrap up the entire build. So hope you got the random little blurts of thoughts and stuff to kind of just help you out if you decide to tackle this build yourself. It definitely was fun getting out of my comfort zone and doing a different build style, so I do recommend it. And I'm keep an eye out for the next episode where I do the inside of it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Please comment down below if you have any thoughts, opinions, comments, requests for builds. I'm open to everything. I just like reading the comments and replying to them. So as I'm doing my final details, this is Sergeant Alex. I hope you have a nice day. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter for an online stream, and don't forget to subscribe because there's more content coming eventually. I don't have a set schedule, I just want to make sure the videos are a better quality than what I can spit out every week. So I hope you have a nice day, and bye.